What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, like always, is going to be another fun, exciting day. So, as you guys know, we've been working on the interior of this Hilux. Now, I'm getting really antsy to put this cab on the frame. We still got a lot of work to do on the inside, but I want to get the cab sitting back on the frame just because, I don't know, I just want to. So, first things first, let's get this cab on the lift, get it up in the air. Then we got to push the frame into the shop, get this thing setting on it now. I couldn't find the mount bushings for this actual truck. I bought a set of cab bushings off of, I think it's for the 79 up Toyota two-wheel drive. So they are a little bit different, but I think they are gonna work. So that's good news, hopefully anyways, as long as we can get them to work. So let's get this cab up in the air, get the frame in, get the cab sitting back down, and then we'll jump on the inside and figure out what we're doing today. All right guys, cab is bolted onto the frame. So these mounts actually worked out really good. All I had to do, they take a washer on top of the rubber. These front mounts were a little bit shorter than the rear. So instead of running the washers on top of the bushings in the back on the four mounts in the rear, I just pulled those washers out and it fits really good. It sat really level. So we're looking good with that. One thing, you can see the front is still quite a bit higher. Now I probably will have to end up cutting a little bit off these front springs to drop it down, but like I said previously, we're not going to mess with it right now until we get a motor in it, get all the weight on it, and kind of see where we're sitting. So we are good with the cab. Next thing, I want to work on the headliner. I picked this stuff up on Amazon. Like always, I'll have everything linked down below. This is kind of a nice diamond fabric here. It's already got foam stitched onto it, so we're going to use that for the headliner. We're going to use this 3M Super 77 for the adhesive. Now I do still have buried under here the stock headliner I pulled out, you can see there. So we're just going to lay this down and we're just going to trace it right on top of it with the new one, and we should fit just fine. You can see the line here, it kind of sits, there's like the edge, it's kind of like a kind of fits underneath this panel here. You can see I gotta still unmask it, but it kind of slides underneath that panel. So what we will have to do is mask all the paint off. I want to mask the dash off, make sure we don't get any of that adhesive anywhere, but this should be pretty easy. It's just spray both surfaces with the adhesive, let that kind of tack up, and then you got to make sure it's aligned right, because once you stick that on there onto the actual ceiling or the roof in the truck, it's not going to come off without tearing that foam up. So we got to get this thing aligned perfectly and then tack it in. So let's get this thing masked up, ready for some spray, get this traced out, cut up, and see what we can do with headliner. Well, there we go. That thing turned out sweet. The only hard part really was getting it to tuck up underneath the edges, just because the, you know, the masking had the adhesive on it too. So it's kind of sticking to that. But all in all, turned out really, really good. I'm actually really loving the look of that headliner. So moving on, next thing I want to do is I picked up this little, I think it's actually for boats, but it's a little USB charger, and it's got the volt readout, I guess, the voltmeter readout right there. I'm gonna drill it out. It's a lot bigger. It's like over 1 inch big. I'm gonna drill this out and where the cigarette lighter was, and I'm gonna put that right there. I think that'll be a nice little addition instead of the cigarette lighter. I've never even used those anyways. The only thing you're using for is buy an adapter to a USB. So might as well just swap the whole thing out for this. It'll look a little better anyway. Well, look at what showed up, guys. We got a new set of racing seats for the truck. Now these are a reclinable seat, and they also came with sliders, the whole slider setup. So they slide, they recline, and honestly I really like the style of these seats. It's not like a really hardcore racing seat like a Recaro or a Sparco, but they are still a racing style seat, so you do still get like the planted feel, but they're a lot more comfortable. So I'm excited to get these things in. I haven't even test fit them yet. I haven't got the sliders on. What we got to do is bolt these things on, get them in the truck. Now these didn't come with mounts because the mounts are all vehicle specific, and there's no companies that make mounts for this truck. So we're gonna have to build our own brackets. Honestly, shouldn't be too bad. I think, let's see, these bolt on one, I think they bolt on the top side. So we'll have to just bolt on the brackets, one on the front, one on the back, just onto the front seat rail right here. Hopefully we can use the factory holes, and then I'll have to make some bolt brackets that bolt through the floor in the rear. So really shouldn't be too bad. Should be pretty easy to get these things mounted. Now, unlike a lot of these aftermarket racing seats, these ones don't cost $1,000 to get to your door. These ones are $375. Now the brand name is called Modify Street. You can find these at modifystreet.com. Like always, I'll have all the links down in the description. These are their classic reclinable seats. So like I said, $375 will get you a set of these seats and the whole slider kit. So obviously I don't have these in the truck. I can't really comment on how long they're gonna last, but first appearance, they look really high quality. They're really comfortable just sitting in them. We'll get a better feel on it once we get these things bolted into the truck, but just sitting on them on the floor, they actually are really comfortable. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the width of these seats. Now, I think this is one of their narrower seats, and you know, I'm not a very big guy, so I fit in there pretty well. But if you're a wider guy, you may want to look at some of the other seats. They have the dimensions on their website of the width, the height, everything about these seats. So keep that in mind when you're buying these racing style seats. They are a little tighter fit around the sides just to keep you planted in the seat. So make sure you actually fit in these things before you go buy them. They got all the dimensions, like I said, on their website. Well, that's enough. I'm getting too excited to get these things in the truck. Let's get these sliders bolted on the bottom, and then we can figure out what we got to build for mounting brackets. All right, we got these sliders on now. I wouldn't necessarily say they're tricky to get right, but you can mount them either way. So you can actually flip that over and mount it on the other way, but this whole handle would move up and down or in and out while you slide the seat in or out. So basically what you want to do, the bigger part of the slider here, you can see is mounted to the actual seat, and then you want to be able to push up to release this here. So you want to push up and not down. So while you're sitting in the seat, you'll pull it up. So we are ready to go. Let's throw this thing in and figure out what we're doing for brackets that we're gonna have to bolt onto here and into the floor. Well, there we go, guys. Seats are bolted in. Honestly, this was way too easy. Now, I didn't want these seats super tall just because they are kind of a taller seat, you can see, and they're already pretty close to the ceiling, so I didn't want to go too tall, and luckily, it made it very easy to just bolt the top right here through this little seat rail, and then the back. I just took a nut, like a 1/2 inch tall nut for a spacer, and then just bolted it right through the floor there. Now this floor is doubled up all the way over through these back bolts, so nice and sturdy. We are good to go. Really liking these things so far. Let's jump on in here and see how they are. So honestly, it's a single cab, and I'm about 6 foot tall. Honestly, it's a little tight being in a single cab. You can't really get the seat far enough back. These are already touching the back of the cab, so it was the same way with the bench seat. Not much you could do about that, but all in all, these things are actually very comfortable. Actually, really liking these, so I think these are gonna do great in the truck. So like always, if you guys wanna check these seats out, I have a link down in the description box. You can go check them out, modifystreet.com. Like I said, 375 bucks for a set of seats, set of sliders. You really can't beat that price. Well guys, I think I'm gonna wrap today's video up. We got the headliner in, we got seats in. We are making some headway on this truck. Next video, we should have our carpet in so we could do the carpet. I'm gonna do some like Dynamat type material on the floor as well. So once we get all that in, we'll do that, get the carpet. This thing should look really good. Then we gotta tackle the dash pad. Like I said, I got some cool plans for that, but I want to get some other stuff knocked out of the way first. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.